Hey guys, what is up? I hope you have had a great week. It's Friday. Hopefully this video will be up tonight. If not, by the end of the weekend for sure, but hopefully tonight. Anyway, I reached out to my Instagram people and I put on my story, just send me any type of question that you've had, your top question. I get all of these questions all of the time, and I answer a lot of them in my videos, but unless you're watching every single video, a lot of these questions will kind of like fall, or the answers will fall in the cracks. So I'm making a video dedicated to the questions I get asked. This won't be like a start to finish makeup look, but I'm gonna be talking about the things that I get asked a lot, and then I'm gonna show you how to do them. I thought about just doing like answering them back on Instagram, but a lot of times people will end up having the same questions, so I'm just gonna make a video that you can come back and watch. So let's go ahead and get started. I already put on my brows. I didn't really have any questions about my brows. The only thing that one person did want to talk about is my microblading experience. Number one, it didn't hurt. I will drop the lady's name. Her name's Michelle. I'll drop her Instagram below if you guys want to contact her to do your brows. She's very talented. I got a very, very natural treatment. I don't know. I mean, it's already worn off now, but I was actually out of town when I got them done, and I was in Tennessee working a pageant. She was there doing makeup for a pageant as well, so she was just gonna fill out my scar, which my brows are already filled in, but she's gonna fill in my scar, and then what she started doing is she was like, you know what, we're just gonna do your whole brows so they're nice and even, but we're gonna do them really natural. And that was fine with me. I didn't want to have anything like too crazy, but she did them, and you're like supposed to go back in, I don't know how many weeks later, but you're supposed to go back in for a second like touch up, and I obviously wasn't able to do that. She's, I think, based in Colorado maybe, and so I never got to go back and do the touch up because I wasn't gonna fly to Colorado for it. But she was really talented, and they lasted for a couple months, but because I didn't go in for the touch up and because I got them so natural, it didn't really last, and that's fine, but you guys wanted to know, so that's the tea. But I've seen a lot of her work on her Instagram, and I've seen other girls that she's done, and she's super, super talented. I just said that really weird, really talented. So I will drop her name below for you guys that do want to inquire about getting them done. It did not hurt. It lasted like an hour, I think, hour and a half. I don't know. I was talking to her and the other girl that was in the room with me. So it went by really fast and quick and painless. Another question I got that I'm not gonna really be talking about or actually showing you guys is my self tanner. I use a couple different kinds. It just kind of depends on the week, honestly, but I love Saint-Tropez, which is definitely higher end and it's a little bit expensive, but if you're gonna pay for spray tans multiple times a month or anything like that, then I mean, it's a lot cheaper than that, and it'll last you a lot longer than if you go get like a membership for a month. But I think it's like $40 or something. And then I also use St. Moritz. Shout out to Ashlyn. She got me hooked on them. They're like $12.99 at Ulta, and they work really well. They dry really fast. I literally just put it on my chest and arms before this video, and I always wear a robe after for a little bit, just because if it is going to transfer, I'd rather it transfer on my robe than clothes. But Ashlyn, one of my best friends, will literally just go right in and put on her clothes after she uses it, and she says it never transfers. So if you guys are looking for self tanner, those are really good brands. So I'm starting with my eyes first, like always. The questions I got about my eyes or eyes period sorry, I'm looking for my palette. How to do eyeshadow on hooded eyes. I don't really have, well, I don't have hooded eyes, but obviously I do makeup on girls with hooded eyes all the time, and I will go ahead and do that look today, even though I don't necessarily need to do that for my eye shape, but it looks pretty on all types of eyes, I think. So we're just gonna go ahead and set the eye like I always do, and then I'm gonna go in and, or I just primed the eye, now I'm going in to set it with some Dermablend powder. Make sure to always set your eyes with something. You don't have to use a primer, but at least put some concealer on it or something, and then put a skin tone or like translucent powder over, so you have something that's setting your eye, so your shadow can, number one, stay, and number two, it doesn't get like splotchy. So for hooded eyes, if you saw the Valentine's Day Part 2 video, it's basically like that, that type of technique. I'm gonna go in with a darker brown and then work my way up, and so it's called a dark to light. I'm just gonna go in taking a flat shader brush and patting this on my lid, and today I'm going for pretty natural. I don't want to have like a full like dark, deep dark smoky eye kind of thing, but you just start here and pat on, and then the higher up you go towards your brow, I just lighten it up. And this is what I usually do for girls that have hooded eyes. I'm sure there's other ways and other things that you can do, but I think this is the prettiest. So I just kind of put that all over the lid, but blending it up as I go. And then I'm gonna do the other eye. I'm going in with a smaller brush right here, and I'm just going in with a darker brown, and I'm focusing that lower, right near my lid, or right near my lash line and a little up. And like I said, like you can take this as like dramatic or as dark as you want, but for today I'm keeping it very natural. I'm taking a fluffy brush right now, and I'm just kind of going into some shadows that are a little bit darker than my skin tone, and I'm just gonna put that right in the crease, which normally I would do the crease first, and you can do that first in this look too, but today I didn't. So I'm just gonna go back in and make sure all that's blended out. And everybody's eyes are different, so for me, I don't have to bring it up as high or make it as, I'm trying to explain it to where you would understand, but like I don't, depending on how hooded your eyes are, depends on how high you're gonna bring the shadow up, because, or the darker shadow up, because if they're super hooded, if you open your eyes, you may not be able to see like the dimension, so you might have to change the dimension depending on how hooded your eyes are. But I'm gonna go back in with the darker shadow and just bring it right along that lash line. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna go in with a little pencil brush, and I'm just going in with a cream shade, and I'm going right underneath my brow just to kind of make sure that I have somewhat of a highlight here. This is a whole matte eye today. I didn't put any shimmer or anything like that, but if you would like to put a little shimmer at your brow bone, you can. And there we go. Okay. Second questions, or like type of questions that I got, were talking about foundation, how to make foundation last all day, how to make it look really blended and seamless looking. So I'm gonna go into this Super Stay foundation from Maybelline, and it all depends on what kind of skin you have. If you have really oily skin, then you want to go to a matte foundation. If you have really combo skin, then it kind of just depends. You might have to play around with it a little bit more just to kind of see what works for you. You could use a more matte foundation and then just use the less setting powder in certain areas, or you could do the opposite and do a little bit more like luminous dewy foundation and then just make sure to really set those areas. But my thing for all my clients, unless this look is like very specific towards making it dewy skin, I always use a matte foundation and then just kind of set it appropriately for everybody. But most of the questions that I was getting was for oily skin and how to make it last all day. And I think that really comes down to the products that you're using, because if you're using a foundation that's for dry skin but you're super oily, then that's gonna come off of you really quickly. And it's also about setting your face. You wanna make sure that your face is properly set. I always, always, always use setting powder, no matter what. Even if I'm just setting like my T-zone and underneath my eyes and I won't set the rest of my face, it's really important to make sure that those areas that do get oily are set in place, or else they will wipe right off. And another question I got was talking about just blending in your foundation, making everything look really seamless and airbrushed. When you're blending in your foundation, start in areas, like I started on this cheek, then I worked my way over to this cheek, and then I'm slowly working my way up. Like, I personally don't like to bop, 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 bop. I've done that before, and depending on how fast the foundation dries, it looks really, if it dries fast, it looks really splotchy, and it can just look weird in certain areas, especially if you're fixing this side of your face and then this side of your face is like drying down. Then you have to like go back through and really work on that. So work in sections and really make sure to blend it out. And if you don't need a lot of coverage, then don't use a lot of foundation. I mean, I know certain foundations have a lot more coverage and are a lot thicker than others, but if you don't want your foundation to look cakey, then if you don't need 2 pumps, don't use 2 pumps. I always start with 1, 1.5, and then if I'm like really breaking out or something, then I will go in with more after I've already put on a first layer. But if you don't want your foundation to look cakey, use what you need. Also, it comes down to products, because if you're using a concealer and you're using it all over your face, then you might as well, like, it defeats the purpose of concealer. Just use that for foundation, because you don't want to put a full face of makeup over and over again when you don't need it. You can put a full face foundation on, focus on where you need, conceal where you need, powder where you need, put blush or contour and everything where you need. I feel like sometimes people put the same amount of everything over top, and it's like, well, you might not need that much setting powder. Okay, well, you might not need that much bronzer. And so people are putting so much product on their face, which is making their faces look cakey. You can just focus on certain areas, and yeah, I might be putting on a lot of product and using a lot of product, but I'm very specific about where I'm using it. I'm not using it all over and over and over, you know. So I'm going to go put on concealer, set my face. Actually, you know what? This is going to end up just being a full tutorial, because I'm just going to end up talking about everything along the way. This is the NARS concealer right here, and I'm just putting it right underneath. Some people, because of YouTube and because of Instagram tutorials, they're like, oh, well, they're dragging it all the way down and like going kind of crazy with their concealer and their products. Like, if you don't need coverage there, I get redness right here through my cheeks, and then I have obviously darker areas underneath my eye that I want to conceal. But if I didn't have that redness right in my cheeks, then I wouldn't be bringing that there. This is like the very end of this concealer, so I'm like scraping it off, but it's fine. And then I just like put a little bit right there to brighten that area. But again, if you don't need it there, don't put it there. Some people just do the same. They see something on YouTube, they see something on Instagram, and they may have a huge forehead, but they still put it all right there. If you don't, no, put that bronzer right there, bring it down. Okay, I was in the middle of setting my eyes, and I was like, you know what, let's talk about this. So for me, setting my eyes, I take either a sponge or a little brush like this, and I go in with either my Perfect Face powder, or I'll go in with my Laura Mercier powder, which I'm using right now. And it's the under eye brightening powder, and I go right into where I need. You can bake, you don't have to bake, or you don't have to put all of that powder underneath. you can still have a really flawless finish with putting minimal product, and it's gonna prevent you from looking cakey. And a lot of times, like, another question I had was how to make your makeup stay pretty all day. You know, I have to blot sometimes and my makeup doesn't last all day, but I also am using matte foundations. I know that if I use a luminous or dewy foundation, my makeup will not last all day. It's about the product that you're putting on your face. And some people, I've had plenty of clients where you can put mattifying primer, you can put a mattifying foundation, you can set the crap out of their face, and by the end of the day, a couple hours later, whatever, they still come back a grease ball, and that's fine. But keep a little brush or a little sponge or something in your purse and some blotting sheets. I've used receipts, I've used little napkins in the car. I've used so many things to set my, or to like tap off my face. And so it's like, you know, use what you can, and sometimes you may have to blot, but if you're not over putting the amount of product on your face that you need to be putting, your makeup should last prettier longer. But if you're just caking on the makeup, it's not gonna look good in a few hours because your makeup is gonna just feel heavy, it's gonna feel gross, it's gonna look gross. So I honestly think it comes down to put on the right amount of makeup that you need for your skin and the coverage that you need. So I'm just going in and I'm setting this face. Another thing that I was thinking about that kind of goes into this. I had somebody ask me about how to like make, number one, how to contour for everybody. One was for a rounder face, one was just how do you contour, and then another one was how do you make your contour look neat. And that, I'm gonna go over that in a second, but first, set your face with a translucent powder, with a colored powder, of like whatever, just set your face, number one. Because if you don't set before you go straight into contour, unless you're cream contouring, then cream contour and then go into your powder. But make sure your face is set, and then wherever, it's all about layering, but layering enough. Like, I know I keep saying that, but like if I want to contour here and I'm going with a cream contour, then I have to go in with, I don't have to, but if I want a more natural look, you can just set it with a translucent powder. But if you want like a little bit more glam, which I usually do, I'll do cream contour and then I do a powder contour and then a powder bronzer too. But I'm not caking it on. I'm just doing it enough to where I'm getting the coverage or the color that I want. But first step, always set your face. I love this. It's awesome. So I'm gonna go into my Hoola bronzer first, and I always do Hoola or a cool tone bronzer like the Makeup Revolution or the Physicians Formula, and I go in and just go slow. I had a girl the other day, actually I'm not even gonna go into that. I just see a lot of people this, and that's fine. I'm not no shade, it's fine. We all do that in a hurry. Try to put it on your face as fast as you can and you're trying to get out the door. You can still go fast and be very specific about where you're putting your brush for your contour or powder or anything. Start here and just go like that. It's really fast, but I'm barely tapping the brush on my face. I'm not over using it or over pressing it. And a brush that I really recommend, especially for those like that maybe have a heavier hand in contour, is this. You can get the brush from Morphe. It's a M500, or you can get it from MAC, and it's a 137 brush. And this is the fluffiest brush ever, and it's really good for contour because it just very seamlessly blends everything out. But when you're using this brush, you need to make sure that it's like any other brush, like the brush I was just using too. Make sure it's like barely touching you. Don't make it flat like that, or else your whole contour is going everywhere. You can still be fast, but be precise. I'm gonna take this brush again. This is a powder or a blush brush from The Perfect Face, and I'm gonna go in and sculpt that cheek. And this is for any face shape. You can, if you have a bigger forehead, then you can put more contour there, but if you have a small forehead, worry about more highlighting, and then the same for your chin. If you have a big chin, you can go right in with contour, but if you have a little baby chin, then you can highlight it a little bit more, and that's just gonna be more appropriate for your face shape. Okay, I'm done with the hula. Next, I'm going into, where is it? Oh, this MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. It's Give Me Sun. You don't have to do this, but if you're tan or like a tanner skin tone, I would totally do this just because it's gonna bronze you up. Or if you have like a spray tan, you don't have to be as precise with this one. I mean, you don't wanna like put it all over your highlighted areas, but if you have some extra and you feel like your highlight may be a little strong, you can just go right over it with whatever's left on the brush and do that. And that's all I'm gonna do today for bronzer because I'm not that dark, but also I got a haircut, guys. How do you like it? I still have extensions in because my hair is so thin, but they're short extensions, obviously. But I think I'm digging the short hair for a little bit. I think I like it. I'm gonna go in with Maybelline highlighter. I can't even talk. You know what it is. You can see it or not see it. You're blinded. And then I'm just gonna highlight here. So while we're already at contour and highlight and all that jazz, I'm just gonna go ahead and continue on with my blush and everything. I said this wasn't gonna be a full tutorial, and look at me now, it's fine. I'm going in with a flower blush from Walmart. It's so pretty though, and this is a Japanesque brush. It's a dupe of a NARS, but this is 19 and the NARS is 55, so yeah. I usually just put blush right there at the apples of my cheeks. I don't really use too much blush, but I also think about your application for everything from foundation to contour and powder and setting your face. All also comes down to the types of brushes that you're using and the products that you're using for sure. But if you have a really crappy brush, then it's probably going to be a really crappy application, honestly. Besides the point. One of my other questions was talking about, she has like really small eyes, and so do I. I mean, I do have smaller eyes, but I think she has smaller eyes than me. And she was like, well, I love to wear darker or any type of liner underneath my eyes, but sometimes I feel like it makes me look emo because it's like so black or so dark. I think I already have. I'm doing a pageant tomorrow, or I'm going to a pageant tomorrow, and I've already packed up a lot of my stuff, so sorry if I have to keep like going down to get my stuff, but I always have like a big selection of liners because depending on your skin tone, depending on your eye color, like I think black is so overused. You can use so many other really pretty colors that make your eyes pop without, and like give you that definition without like being a black liner. I think black is really harsh, and there's certain times for black, or there's certain amounts of black, like for a really pretty winged look, like that's great, but you don't always, especially for a day-to-day, you don't have to use a black liner. I love browns. This is a Cinnabar from Maybelline. I love brown topaz from Almay. Espresso is really pretty from Maybelline too, and this is a really dark brown. This one is a little bit more like warm tone brown, and so you can use different colors. I'm trying to find the other one from Almay. This is like raisin quartz, so it's kind of like a purpley brown. So you can like, and then of course you could use gray or navy blue too. So you don't have to use black, and it's not as harsh. And she was like, it makes me look so emo. But maybe you could just kind of like switch up the type of liner you're using. Oh God. You can just switch up the type of liner you're using instead of being like straight black. So another suggestion is you can take a little brush like this, or there's like, I have some from e.l.f. I don't really know where they are right now, but you can take like a small little detail brush like this. Oh, I just saw it. like this from e.l.f. or this one is from Royal Norman, kind of random, but whatever, I'll use it. And you can just go in with a darker brown, kind of like what I used up here, and then smudge this out and blend it out a little bit to where you have a little bit of definition, but it's not like too much and it doesn't look too harsh. I really like this brown topaz. I think this is a dupe for the MAC Teddy, and I'll just go right in here and line my eye like that. And you can go either all the way if you have bigger eyes, but if you have smaller eyes, I would probably stop halfway. And if you're gonna blend it out, I mean, if you're not gonna blend it out, it might look a little weird for you to just have like that, and then it won't be that cute. And then I'm gonna go in with a little brush like this, and I'm dipping into like a medium brown, and I'm gonna go right in and smudge that out. So then it's not like a harsh line. So you can do that, and it looks a little better. It looks less like scary. I'll go into another brush. I'm gonna go into this pencil brush. I'm gonna go into another brown that's a little lighter, but same kind of cool tone as this darker brown that I was using, and I'm just gonna go in and go right below it and smudge that out even more. And it just kind of softens everything, even though it is more like shadow, it's softer because it's not as harsh line. And it's like really soft everyday look. You can definitely put like liner up here, but I just kind of use that dark shadow as a liner instead of going in with like a brown pencil liner or anything like that. And then a last little extra step that I like to do is take a little mini fluffy brush and then go into a warmer color, like the color that we started off with. And then I go right underneath it. It's kind of right on top and then right underneath it as well, which you can see it on yourself better than you can see it on me. But if you just keep on layering them down, it becomes more smoked out as the time goes, as the layers come, but it just makes it really soft. Okay guys, so I put on some mascara and I curled my lashes. I haven't really curled my lashes. Well, I curled them, then I put on mascara. Let's fix that. I haven't really curled my lashes like ever, really. I mean, I've been trying to lately, but it took me a while to get into it and like actually see the difference. Like when I was younger, I hated it, but it really does help, especially if you have like little baby lashes like me. So for lashes, I will use the 415s from Amazon. I say it to everybody and everybody's like, oh, but what brand? I'm like, just type in 415 on Amazon and they'll come up. They're literally the first thing. So if you've ever had questions about what lashes I'm using, 90% of the time I'm wearing these, and 90% of the time I put these on girls, like my clients as well, just because I feel like they're so pretty, so natural glam. Like, I mean, obviously you can see them on my lashes, but they're not like crazy looking. So sometimes I use the Duo glue for this. It's in like the pink and white little squirty tube thing. And then for me, I just use the Kiss Strip Lash adhesive just because it's right here. I've already packed up my Duo glue, so this is what I'm using. Make sure there's a good enough amount. You can actually already see the white on there, that like there's a pretty hefty amount on there, but not too much to where it's gonna like go all over my eye. So make sure that there's definitely enough glue on here, but you don't want to put it on too fast. You want to kind of make sure that it's like dried a little bit down, so it's a tad tacky. And then I don't use any tweezers or like little tool. I just use my fingers. My hands are really small. So this is what works for me. If a tool works for you, then that's completely fine, but I'm gonna go right in and sit it on top of my lash, and then I just kind of push down on one end and push on another, and then I squeeze it to make sure that it's like as close down as it can go, because nothing is more like than seeing like the space in between. So yeah, it ain't that cute. So we're just gonna put that down right there, put that down right there, and put that down right there, and it's on. you never want to close your eyes all the way when you're doing lashes, because if you close your eye all the way, then your lid gets smaller. But if you just kind of keep your eye open but look down, or be very gentle and look up like I'm doing, then it stays and it's on. I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, it's good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one, and I'm gonna keep the camera rolling so you guys can see this too. One time I got a message and they were like, okay, what'd you do because you put it on too fast? Like I had like some like secretive trick up my sleeve or whatever, and it's just straight practice putting them on over and over and over again. If I wear makeup, 99% of the time I'm wearing lashes. It's just, I love lashes and I hate mascara with passion, so it's just easier for me to put on like a little baby coat of mascara like that and then put lashes on top, and I like the way they look. I just love lashes, so it's practice. Got a little mascara there, and it messes up your eyeshadow. Oh, maybe if I had long lashes I would like them more, or like mascara more. So, oh, got a little glue in my eye. Don't be afraid of the lash. Like, some people I think are so afraid of the lash that let the lash be afraid of you, you know? Go. You just gotta handle it. Okay. My very last question is about lip combos. One of my favorite lip combos is a mix between the Perfect Face products and MAC products. I'm gonna get them out now. So from the Perfect Face, I love Camo Liner. It's a really pretty nudish, peachish pink, which I know that sounds really weird, but it's like the perfect combination of all of those colors mixed together. So I really love those. And then just kind of depending on what I have in my purse, honestly, or what's down here, I just kind of go between different things, actually. I'm gonna pretend like that didn't happen, and I'm just gonna clean it up after the video. It's fine. All for this buxom liner, it's fine. So, I will either use MAC Strip Down, which is a little bit more like of a straight up like nude brown. Like, it's really pretty, but if you're not a brown lip girl, don't do that. Stick to the Cameo or the Spice. They're like, you can tell a little bit. The Cameo has a little bit more pink undertones, and then the Spice has a little bit more peach. I think today I'm actually gonna go with Strip Down because of my eye colors, or my eyeshadow colors. So those are some great little combos for liner. And then I love Sex on Heels lipstick. It's probably my most used lipstick. I have 2 of them just so I can make sure that one is with me at all times. And then I like White Russian Buxom Gloss. This is like a little lip plumper, and it's just a really pretty gloss that looks good on everybody. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I'm gonna shut up and do my liner right now. So if you want to overline your lips, like me, I love overlining. Focus right here, and then connect normally down on the sides. Because you don't want to overline your whole lip, because then it looks crazy and you look like you're trying to be Kylie Jenner. Where if you just do it right here and right here, it looks natural enough to where, oh, her lips look good. And I always go in right here on the side. And make that, like, I don't know, blend it in a little bit. I love using lip liners as a whole lipstick because I feel like it stays better too. So if you really like this color or a lip liner color and it has more of this like more waxy consistency, then like this one from Wet n Wild, which I love it. It's a gel lip liner, but it will go everywhere. But this one will stay in place a little bit more and last throughout the day. So depending on what kind of lip liner you have, you can put it all over as a lipstick, or you could really do it with that one too, but it's gonna wear off faster. I'm gonna just go in with a little lipstick from The Perfect Face, like I was just saying. Such a pretty color. Oh my gosh. This has been my favorite for years. It's just, oh. I'm gonna go with a little bit of the Buxom Gloss. That looks weird. I don't think you guys can even see it, but there's like a little fuzzy right there. And just go in all over. If you're really small lips and you're like, I'm trying to make them look as big as possible. And it's just so pretty. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, so I just went back through the questions and I think I got everything. There was a lot of duplicate questions, a lot of questions about foundation and contour and skin and how to make everything, number one, last, and number two, look good at the beginning of everything. So this is the makeup. I think it turned out really pretty, very natural, and or you know, everyday glam I like to call it, because I'm not really a natural girl, but you can do makeup that looks semi-natural and just more everyday appropriate. So I really hope this video helped you guys out. Let me know if you want to see another video like this, and please just send me your questions and let me know in the comments below. That'd be awesome. I really liked kind of going through everything a little bit more in depth, so hopefully it was helpful for you guys. But I will see you guys soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Hopefully I will be doing a little bit more videos more frequently. I've been working like crazy for the past couple weeks, so I haven't really been able to film as much as I would like to. I haven't been able to film at all, but anyway, hopefully the next couple weeks I will be able to film more. So let me know if you guys have any other ideas that you'd like me to do. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next video. Bye guys.